Hi everyone, here at the Australian Armour and Artillery Museum during AusArmourFest 2024, and we're taking a look today at one piece of late war German armour. This is the Panzer IV/70V, which was a tank destroyer used by Germany late in World War II. So prior to World War II, German tank leader Heinz Guderian had predicted that there would be a need for highly mobile, self-propelled anti-tank vehicles, which would later become known as Panzerjägers or tank hunters, within the German order of battle. And that was because the types of towed anti-tank guns that had been developed to support Panzer units would be not mobile enough to keep pace with an armoured breakthrough. In other words, if you have a whole lot of mobile tanks which can move fast, such as Panzer IIIs, and you want to support them with other anti-tank guns, it's better not to have these as guns that are mounted on carriages that need to be limbered up and towed around. It's better to have them highly mobile and mounted on chassis. So during the 1930s, this was his proposal, and for that reason, starting from March 1940, the first attempt was made to mount an anti-tank gun on a vehicle, and that was the Panzerjäger I. So this was produced by Alkett in May 1940, and it took the Czech derived 4.7 centimeter Panzerjäger T and mounted it onto an open-top citadel that was built on the chassis of the Panzer I Ausf.B tank. The museum here has just completed a replica / rebuild of the Panzer I, which was a machine gun armed turreted tank that entered service in 1934. They were obsolete by 1940, and so the chassis were repurposed to build the first of these Panzerjägers. So the Panzerjäger I proved the concept that if you take the turret off a tank, you can replace it with a much larger anti-tank gun and use that vehicle in a way that will allow it to support armoured formations as they're making their breakthrough. This is different to the concept of the Sturmgeschütz. The Sturmgeschütz was designed to primarily support infantry on the move and break up the sort of emplacements that they would face, and consequently they were mounted with howitzers. These Panzerjägers were mounted with anti-tank guns and were designed to support armoured formations. Now, as the war progressed, many similar projects to the Panzerjäger I started to take shape, including repurposing guns that had been captured from the Soviets and the French, and/or chassis from French tanks to employ them as anti-tank weapons with citadels or as turretless tanks. So the German Stug 3 assault gun was itself migrated into that kind of role once it began mounting an anti-tank gun, which started from about March of 1942. That was when they added the 7.5 centimeter Stugkanone 40 L43 gun to the Stug 3. And at that point, Stugs started to be deployed into armoured units such as Panzer Grenadier Divisions and Panzer Divisions to equip the mobile anti-tank elements of those divisions. Now, with the development of heavier tanks such as the Panzer V Panther and the Tiger I later in the war that mounted even more potent anti-tank guns, ways of using older chassis and to repurpose them to create tank killers progressed. Experience gained on the Eastern Front up until about September 1942 suggested that a new standard for these types of Panzerjägers was appropriate, which was that they should have about 100 millimeters of armour to the front, about 40 to 50 millimeters on the side, wider tracks to deal with the poor terrain in the east, a top speed of about 26 kilometers per hour, and a low profile to help with concealment. So when the more lethal 7.5 centimeter Panzer Abwehrkanone 42 L70 gun that was developed for the Panther tank was thought of as a gun that could be mounted into a citadel and create an anti-tank vehicle, it's the Panzer IV/70 that you see here at the museum that was conceived. So the vehicle was built on a modified Panzer IV chassis. The Panzer IV Ausf.H was used as the donor of components. You can see here it's got typical Panzer IV suspension, 8 double road wheels per side, mounted onto 4 bogies. The front road wheels in this case are steel lined rather than rubber lined to help manage the weight of the vehicle. It was very nose heavy. You can see here at the back you've got pioneering tools mounted on the rear deck. Under that rear deck is the Maybach HL120 TRM petrol engine, so it's a V12 12-litre dry sump engine developing about 221 kilowatts. Power is via front drive sprockets, so there's a drive shaft running under the crew compartment here to take the power to the front. You can see there the scissor type scopes for the commander are in place. As we move forward to the front, you can see the 80 millimeters of armour that was added to this vehicle here. So you can see there a close-up of the mantlet, so the cast mantlet here integrated that Pak 42 L70 gun into the upper structure. So you can see here also a close-up of these angled brackets. These brackets run along the side of the vehicle and are used to hold Scherzen plates. Scherzen plates was standoff armour that helped the vehicle deal with anti-tank rifles that were powerful enough to penetrate the hull sides of the Panzer IV. The plates aren't in place, but the brackets are there. So you can see also the gun here at the front. You can see how much it's towards the front of the vehicle and how nose heavy the vehicle would have been. That weight's directly over those front two pairs of road wheels, and why they've replaced those front two road wheel pairs with steel lining rather than rubber lining. The excess weight there really hampered the ability of rubber lined road wheels to function. So that Pak 42 gun was made by Rheinmetall. It could penetrate about 112 millimeters of angled armour at a range of 1,000 meters using the standard Panzergranate 39 armour piercing ammunition. With the more potent Panzergranate 40 APCR shell, it could penetrate up to 149 millimeters of armour. So the vehicle started production in late 1943 and was built up until the end of the war. Initially about 750 units were built with the less capable 7.5 centimeter Pak 39 gun because there was difficulty sourcing the Pak 42. So yeah, 750 of these were built, and these were termed the Jagdpanzer IV. And they were built up until November 1944. Starting from about August 1944, the Panzer IV/70, the example you see here, started production. That was with the more powerful Pak 42 gun, and they were built by Vomag up until April of 1945. There was also production of some vehicles made by Nibelungenwerke in Austria. They put the casemate directly onto a Panzer IV chassis, and these were termed the Panzer IV 70As. About 277 of these were built. So the vehicle started to reach frontline units on the Eastern Front around the end of 1944. They saw action in the Ardennes Offensive in the west, as well as in North Poland and around Budapest in the east. They were only used in the Italian campaign in very limited numbers. So that's all I really want to say about the Panzer IV 70V. Thank you for staying with me until the end of the video. I appreciate you doing that and listening to me bang on about this vehicle. I hope to talk to you soon about another armoured vehicle or artillery piece. Until then, I hope you stay well, and we'll talk soon.